Welcome to Inside NRPS. This is the cable show that provides an inside look for you to what's taking place in the North Reading Public Schools. My name is Kathleen Willis, Superintendent of Schools, and I'm your host. The focus of this show is on two graduating North Reading High School seniors. Joining me today are Madison Capezzuto and Matthew Leighton. They serve as student representatives to the North Reading School Committee, 2 and 3 years respectively. They are also involved in so many other activities at the high school, so I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves to you. And we'll start with Madison. Madison?
Hi, I'm Madison, as Mrs. Willis has already said. I am a 3-year representative to the North Reading School Committee. I am president of the senior class, and I have been the last 3 years, obviously the junior and the sophomore class, not the senior class, all 3 years. I served as secretary my freshman year and sort of went up from there. All 4 years of high school, I've been involved in various clubs and activities, including SLAM, which is Student Leadership and Mentoring, which provides mentoring services for incoming freshmen. We put on the freshman orientation. I've also been involved in student council. I served as treasurer last year and was just a delegate the other 2 years that I had served, including this year. And a couple of other, clubs and activities here and there. The cheering team, and I was on the track team a few years, and so kind of all over the map, but all in good fun. And Matt?
Great. Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about
So Mrs. Willis said, I'm Matthew Leighton. I'm a senior, like she mentioned. I've been involved a lot. I've been a representative for the school committee for the past 2 years, starting my junior year. I've done a lot at the high school as well. My sophomore year became the student representative to our school council. Then September of my junior year became involved in the NEASC accreditation process. I was the student representative to the assessment committee. Following that, junior year as well, became part of the new student senate formed at the high school. I was the junior and respective senior class representative. Also involved in sports, I was a member of the boys soccer team and tennis team. And then also part of academic clubs. This past year, I was part of Model UN. We traveled to Boston to the Harvard Model United Nations Conference, which 45 countries from around the world participated in. So it was great to see the diversity and meet kids from other countries. Also as part of the Future Business Leaders of America Club. And this past April, we attended a conference in Bentley University. So I've done a lot over the past 4 years, and it's been great experience.
Great. So for the purpose of our show today, I have a few questions that I'd like to ask you so that people that are watching could get a better understanding of inside North Reading Public Schools, and then we'll finish up talking specifically about North Reading High School. So Matthew, I'm going to start with you. As you think back on your years as a student in the North Reading Public Schools, who was the educator that had the biggest influence on you and why?
Thinking about this was very difficult. I had so many great teachers and had so many great experience with faculty throughout my 12 years in the district, but I would have to say Mr. Bernard, the principal at the high school, has been the biggest influence on me for many reasons. One, he encouraged me a lot to get involved in school. He encouraged me just to help out as much as I can, get involved wherever I could. And as someone who really was involved in the middle school and found it very tough to get involved at the high school, he really helped me, push me along to find something to get involved in, especially with the school council to start off with, which led to many other great things. And he's just always been very supportive of me and my decisions, especially when it came time to make a decision for college. I was between 2 schools, and I think the guidance he gave me and the advice he gave me to choose a school was very helpful. So I'm very grateful for all that he's done for me and also all the students that have gone through North Reading High School. He's just a great principal, and I don't think North Reading High School would be the same without him.
Thank you, Matt. Madison, same question.
I agree with Matt in that it was so difficult because, from elementary school to the middle school to the high school, there are so many wonderful people who we've had the opportunity to encounter and to work with and to be guided by. And I guess to highlight a few, it's funny because I always talk very highly of my kindergarten teacher, Miss McGrath at the Hood School. And, you know, typically when you hear a student talk about their kindergarten teacher, they're, you know, saying, oh, what was her name again? I don't remember kindergarten. Or, you know, who was in my class? What did we do? What was it all about? But I think part of it, too, is that she is one of the few teachers actually at the Hood School who is still there, who I had from my time there, and also one of my brothers as well. And so I do get the opportunity to go and visit her sometimes. And it's funny to see just how much I remember just being in her class and feeling so safe and secure, and she was very encouraging. And then that sort of even built it up over the years. My mom works at the Hood School now, and my mom comes home almost every week. Miss McGrath wants to know this, and she wants to know how you made out with this. And I think that North Reading is very lucky to have people like that who from the ground level are still very curious about where their students are and what they're doing and what they're involved with. And like I said, there are so many that I could name, but just a standout, just simply because it wasn't, you have a student for a year and you shuttle them off, but just that she was so invested and is always asking to see where her students are. And I think that that's really nice, and that's very special to me.
Two great answers. Thank you. This one's a little different. We all have experiences that happen to us that may not seem funny at the time that they take place, but they end up being one of our funniest memories. Do you have a funny memory that you can share with us? Madison, do you want to start?
I do, actually. So, as I said, I'm the class president, so I have a great deal to do with the planning of the proms and the events that the class participates in. And last year, actually, we were having the junior prom at Hillview Country Club here in North Reading. And so my date is he's more shy, I guess you could say, than I am. So one of the things you have to take on as class president is you have to lead the Grand March. And I was all for it, oh, great, everybody gets to see us first. And, it's nice, it's kind of symbolic. You get to kind of pave the way for everybody else. So he was completely freaking out and had said to me, all right, well, can we just walk really fast so we meet the people at the end of the line? That way, there's no first and there's no last. We're just in one continuous motion. So I said, all right, if that'll make you feel better, we'll try to do that. So we went around the first time and had come back to switch sides so that, people could be seen from opposite angles. And Mr. Kane, the junior class advisor, had kind of stopped us our second time around before we went out through the grand doors. And he said to me, hold on a second, you gotta wait. So, all right, we'll wait. All right, can we go? So he finally lets us go, and I went to take one step down those carpeted stairs at the Hillview, and my foot had come right up from under me just as they were opening those grand doors. And I wouldn't say necessarily it wasn't funny at the time, because it was. But yes, it was very funny, and even I still get remarks and jokes, made at my expense by some of the baseball dads who were at the opening. I can't walk on the field unless I'm like this, don't look. But it's just, nothing academic related, but just something funny that's happened that just kind of sticks out in my memory. And I think everybody else who saw it probably sticks out in theirs too.
Well, I did have an opportunity to see you on Monday night at the Grand March for your senior prom, and I'd say you recovered beautifully.
Thank you very much.
You walked very well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Matthew, same question.
Yeah, so this one was tough as well to think about, but when I started thinking about it, I think this really came to mind. Going back to the 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip. I know, throwback there. It was the third day we were there. It was a Wednesday night. We went to go see a dinner theater. It was in Virginia. It was the play we saw was Shenandoah. So when we pulled up in the bus, we thought we were lost. We saw a little shack on the side. It was literally a little shack, it was falling to pieces. And the bus driver said, "We're here." So we all filed out of the bus. We walked in, and it was very dark and dingy. So as we continued to walk in, it started to get brighter a bit. We saw the table, so we found our seats. We took our seat, and then they called up for dinner. So we all went up for dinner, and the food was disgusting. It was very bad.
It was pretty bad.
It was cold. It just didn't look appetizing whatsoever. So I just grabbed a piece of bread, which was very stale at the time. So we filed back to our seats. Some of the students in the grade ate their dinners, and it didn't agree with them. So they vomited their suppers on their plates, which was very disgusting at the time. It was a tough night.
Oh.
But after that, after dinner, the play started, and it was a great story. It talked about the Civil War era and how some young students adapted to the Civil War environment at the time. I enjoyed the play at the time. Many other students did it. I thought it had a great storyline. But looking back at that, it was a tough experience at first, but when you look back at it, you have to have a laugh once in a while.
For sure.
Well, I'm going to switch gears here and ask you, Matt, what would you say is the most important lesson that you've learned as a student in North Reading?
Going through the district, I've learned not to give up. Always try. As someone who really struggled as a student beginning out in elementary school, I would always give up very easily. My teachers told me never to give up. Always keep trying and try and try. And as I progressed to middle school, it got a bit easier for me learning. So I kept trying, and the teachers just kept pushing me along, saying, keep trying, don't ever give up. So as a student, just don't give up. I think that's the most important lesson I've learned from my experience here in North Reading.
Thank you. Madison.
I would say that, and I agree with Matt, that that's definitely something that sticks out in my mind as well, is that, you really should persevere through your studies and through academics, but also something that's really stayed with me throughout my years is that I've always sort of gotten the feeling and the encouragement that if you keep your mind open and you keep your heart open and you're willing to kind of put yourself out there and push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit and really get involved in something that you might not typically if you weren't to push yourself, or you think, oh, do I really have time to do that? If you sort of find the time, and like I said, if you keep sort of an open perspective on things, that you will find friends in the most unlikely of places. And that's something for me that I have found that's been so important all throughout my time in North Reading, the high school, the middle school, elementary school. I mean, I can remember working with the kid across the room in the second grade, and to this day will say, who do I say, you want to go get an ice cream with, or do you want to go catch the baseball game or the basketball game, or who do you hang around with on the weekends, or who do you study with after school? And just sort of like the networking aspect that I've always been encouraged to participate in, for me, has been so beneficial, both on an academic side and also sort of more on the social side, because during school things can get tough, and we're students and we're expected to do all this work, but at the same time we're kids and we're growing up and facing lots of different changes, and it's always nice to sort of have people that that you can lean on when you need to. And I found that you can find those people if you just allow yourself to, which I think is very important. So,
great points, both of you. So Madison, as you think about the last 4 years as a student at North Reading High School, what would you say is a fond memory for you, and why?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, just too many to name. I have so many fond memories of going to student council conferences, and I also have many fond memories of just being in class with teachers who I've really enjoyed, working on projects with friends whose company I enjoy. I've loved my time on the cheerleading team. It's just, I can't even begin to attempt to pinpoint just one. It's just, there are a lot of things that have happened that you kind of wish hadn't, or you wish had happened a little bit differently, because high school is not all fun and games all the time, and there's a lot of hard work and commitment that goes into succeeding at the North Reading High School, because it's such a rigorous environment, and that's for sure. I'd be lying if I told you otherwise. But yeah, just the entire experience overall just so much more good than bad. And reflecting back on it now as a graduating senior, just really lots of happy memories with people I've thoroughly enjoyed and activities that I'm so glad to have been a part of.
Thank you. Matthew, same question for you.
I agree with Madison as well. There's so many great memories I've had at the high school. Many of my classmates, including Madison, know it's very tough for me to leave high school. It's very emotional for me. But I think the one event that really stands out has been the NEASC accreditation process. Past 2 years, there's been a lot of work put in by the faculty, the teachers, and the students. And being part of that process really opened my eyes to how great the community and the teachers work at North Reading High School. Starting with working with my assessment committee, staying after schools on Thursdays while all the other students went home, staying in the meetings, figuring out how we can improve on the assessments, what are our needs, and where we exceed. And giving my input as a student was really appreciated by all the faculty members on my committee, and they still tell me to this day, without you, we wouldn't be where we are in the assessment process. And then when they came in March for their visit, me and Kate Pecora, freshman, we stood up and gave the open remarks of what life is like as a student here at North Reading High School. And during the speech, I got very emotional, reflecting back on my 4 years of how much I've grown as a student and as a person as well. And then also helping out throughout the week, giving a building tour and just sitting in on the meetings, listening and giving my experience of how great it is to be a student at North Reading High School.
Thanks to both of you. So Matthew, where do you predict you'll be in 5 years?
5 years, ooh. Speaking of, looking back, today in the mail, in 8th grade we wrote letters to ourselves from Miss Gorgini's science class. So I got that in the mail today, and it's amazing how far back I predicted myself where I'll be in the future, still saying to myself, what I want to do profession. Next year I'll be attending Endicott College studying broadcast journalism. So hopefully in 5 years I'll be having a job. I joke with my parents saying that I'll be starting in some distant land. I always joke that I'll be starting in Boise, Idaho, because as a broadcast journalist you don't automatically start in Boston or a bigger city because it's so competitive. So you got to start somewhere far away. I know it won't be close with the family, but it's something I truly care about, and I know to succeed in the business you have to put your best foot forth all the time, and I know that I'll be determined to hopefully come back here to Boston one day and everyone see my face on television. So
See Matt
that's
on
right.
Channel 4.
There we go. It's a great goal, Matthew. And Madison, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
This question is particularly hard for me, partly because I wouldn't say scatterbrained is the right word, because when I do want to get something done, I do it. But because I am so interested in so many different things, it's really hard for me to say, this is the job that I see myself having, and in this building with this executive, or however the structural aspect of it goes. But things that are for certain is that as president, I see myself planning our 5-year class reunion. I see myself helping people somewhere, somehow. I know that that's what I want out of my life. It's not super specific, but I know that that's an aspect of what I want. And like I said, it's difficult. I see myself doing a whole bunch of different things, much like I do right now, and keeping myself busy and helping other people along the way, and whatever overarching theme that falls under, I don't know, but I'm very interested and curious to find out. So,
well, I think it's another respectable goal.
thanks.
Definitely making a difference by helping others. So now is an opportunity for you to just share any parting thoughts that you may have with the audience. Madison, would you like to start, or
Sure.
do you want to defer to Matt? It's up to you.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Why don't
I'll
you
start?
start?
Okay. Well, in terms of, going through the North Reading public school system, and just, what I've sort of learned to apply to my own life, just in general, is that anytime you go anywhere or you enter a new environment, you should always just try to leave the place a little bit better than you had found it. And whether that means, physically the environment itself, whether you clean something up or you make something a little more accessible for someone, or, you just go into a place and you touch just one person and someone, has an easier day or a happier day because you were there, because of the work that you had done, is just so very important. I know that we were actually doing the senior yearbook signings last night, and a very good friend of mine from childhood, who I see kind of on occasion now and then, was on the fly out the door, and I caught her at the last minute. I said, "Oh, will you sign my yearbook?" And I was just expecting a signature, but she wrote me a really nice little paragraph, and at the very end she said, that she had remembered all the way back in elementary school how I was always, kind of going around trying to help people. And you don't think of it that way at the time. You don't think, oh, so-and-so is going to remember this 10 years down the line. But what she had said to me was, go and spread the love because everybody needs some of it. And that was I was like, wow, that is so nice, because, when we do things, we don't necessarily do them for, acknowledgement or recognition, or because, we want people to tell us, that it affected them. We hope that it does, but I was just very moved by that. And I think that that's something that I've found is very rewarding and just so nice. So
That's great.
Thanks.
And Matthew?
Well, the past 12 years here in North Reading have been nothing but amazement. Beginning in kindergarten, the day before September 11th, 2001. There's so much that's changed over the past 12 years. We've gone through a lot together, but we've been together for a long time, and it's been great. To anyone watching, any student watching, believe in yourself. Don't change who you are because someone else thinks you're either weird or different. Be true to yourself. That's personal for me. People would tell me, why do you always help out everyone? Why are you so involved? Because that's just who I am. And I've been so grateful to affect the lives of so many people throughout the district, especially with the new school project. That building will be here for many, many years to come. And I'm so grateful to have been a part of getting it passed to help the future students of this community deserve a building that they want. So, again, just be true to yourself and don't change who you are.
Thank you very much for joining me today. It's been such a joy for me to get to know both of you, and I can tell you that you will be so very much missed. And I want to tell you that I wish you all the best in the near future, as well as what you ever decide to do in your future endeavors. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I look forward to tomorrow night and saying a few more parting words to the entire class as you graduate from North Reading High School. And so in closing, I leave you with a quote from Henry David Thoreau, American author, poet, philosopher, and historian. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life that you have imagined. Thank you and good night.